Steve, is this the year? Is this the year for Josh Allen? Is the path there for the Buffalo Bills to get to and win a Super Bowl? The reason I say that, Steve, is I was kind of going over this and going, is this the first time in, I don't know, 20, 25 years that there has not been a final boss? You know, in video games when we're playing Nintendo and you push the buttons harder and harder because you think if you press harder, the guy will jump higher, or if you press harder, shoot faster. Work. But it didn't work at all. Yeah. But there's no Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, potentially, in your path. This is the first time, in my opinion, I've seen in maybe 20 plus years that the AFC is wide open. There's not one of those unbelievable quarterbacks right there standing in your way, which has been the reason the Bills' seasons have ended. And I've been at every single one of those Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes playoff games. So could that be part of a formula in an AFC that maybe won't have Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow to compete against with Josh Allen?
Okay.
What do you think?
Love John, our producer. He's been in television. You know, I've been in television. I have to say, when I was a player and I would see the title bar with these, is this the year, Super Bowl, the chances, bro, I would roll my eyes. I'm kind of rolling my eyes right now.
Okay. I can't see it. There it is. Got it.
Here's why. The Buffalo Bills won the football game on Sunday. They won. The score did not indicate exactly how the game was going on. If you watch that game against the Cincinnati Bengals, there was, till about the third quarter, man, you were on pins and needles. Bills Mafia was really concerned because things were not going well for the defense. And offensively, they couldn't stop. And offensively for the Cincinnati Bengals, they really showed that they lack in DBs. They can't stop the run. And we're talking about, because Patrick Mahomes isn't in there, that's cool. But let me tell you something.
I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm just using that as one aspect of their path.
No, I know you're not saying that. But they got to get past the Houston Texans. You think that's a team that's just going to be on easy street? Now, I know their offense is a little shaky, right? But the New England Patriots, their defense only giving up 290, only allowing 296 yards. But let me go down there just at the number 8 spot, and the Buffalo Bills getting up 300 and 30 points allowed. Touchdowns allowed, 30. And then right below them is the Chiefs. Right? The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're at 312, but let's be honest.
Defense playing well.
The defense is starting to play well since week 8, and we'll talk about that later. But there's so many teams right now in the AFC that you can't sit here and say, because Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow are not in the playoffs, that gives Josh Allen a runway on easy street to the Super Bowl. You got to get out your own division.
Yeah. I don't think it's easy street. What I do think, and you're mentioning these defenses, you didn't even mention Denver, who is one of the best defenses in football. They're first in the AFC right now.
Here's why I didn't mention Denver. Because they still got to play the Bills. So why am I going to talk about what's going on in the playoffs when you got to play the Cleveland Browns, who's ranked up there? You got to play the Philadelphia Eagles. Man,
you got the Jets.
You almost lost to the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know if it's going to be an easy walk. I think you could lose against the Patriots this weekend. And then, Myles Garrett, he's on his hunt. And the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's been awesome to watch. Hey, not like the defense did anything wrong against Justin Herbert and company on Monday Night Football. Defense was fine. I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. Now listen, they have a 98% chance of making the postseason. They're going to make the postseason. They're most likely going to be on the road.
Make the post. I agree. They're going to make the postseason.
Yes.
I'm saying they're invited to the party, but they don't get invited to the after party.
Oh.
Because there's too many other teams who are hosting after parties that we just got to go to.
But the counter to it, honestly, you mentioned all these defenses, and there's good defenses. That's why I think this AFC landscape, and we wanted to have this conversation, Steve, is because it's different than years past, like we mentioned. It's teams that run the ball well. It's teams that play really, really good defense that are making up a lot of what this AFC is. We saw a Superman performance from the reigning MVP against Cincinnati in a game that I honestly didn't ever want to end. I wish it had 8 quarters because it was so much fun to watch. Yeah. But he goes.
It was dope though. It was
sweet. It was sweet. He scrambles for an NFL high this season, 84 yards on 5 carries, all over the place.
He was scrambling in that game as if the Cincinnati Bengals thought he had no legs.
Well, his legs were working because he was flying down the field. But also, he threw the ball well. He goes 22 of 28 for 251 yards, 3 touchdowns, 139 quarterback rating. The reason I wanted to say this is, if I'm Denver and I'm sitting at the number 1 seed right now in the AFC.
And Denver, highest pressure rate this year, Denver is just ridiculous.
It is. They're most likely going to break the sack record. They're on pace to do it. But when I look at the way they play, and it's a razor edge, but a lot of these games have gone down, and they make some plays in the final moments of a game.
Right,
it's a dangerous way to play when you go against somebody like Josh Allen that can make superhuman type of plays. Is that the 1 week where you can't pull out the moment? You know what I mean? And you're living on this edge the way some of these teams in the AFC are playing. All they need to win is like 3 games.
But here's my problem here's my pushback with what you're saying.
Push it back.
You're saying that Bo Nix, and I've been critical of this offense that doesn't show up for almost 3 quarters, and then they come out and are Houdini.
Yeah.
Hey, that is winning football.
It is. Is it sustainable football?
Hey, I don't know anything. So that's fine, because every year somebody does something that,
of course, they could keep doing it.
Mathematically, you shouldn't be winning games. You shouldn't be doing this, but guess what? They are. But when I watch the Buffalo Bills and you talk about Josh Allen, but that also means that the Buffalo Bills defense is actually stopping someone. They're not getting ran all over.
Very true.
That they can, and let's just say hypothetically, they do contain Josh Allen, and their wide receivers outside of Dalton Kincaid, Knox, and Shakir, that other guys are going to step up. There is no number 1 wide receiver outside of the hashes for the Buffalo Bills. And I mentioned this individual. I won't mention his name because I don't want people getting on me. I see that the Buffalo Bills are so comfortable with their wide receiver group. They brought back Gabe Davis. They got Brandon Cooks.
Didn't Elijah Moore make a stop there?
Elijah Moore. They are looking for an impact player. And if you're looking for an impact player, that must mean you are
lacking an impact player. And they were also extremely, when I asked around the league and it was covering that trade deadline, Steve, and having conversations with you.
They were shopping.
They were trying.
They were shopping.
I've never seen a man more broken at a post-trade deadline press conference than Brandon Beane, who tried so hard to add a receiver in the mix of what they could, try to add to this group. I asked an executive from another team, and it's spot on to what you're saying. And this was, I thought, so fascinating. He was like, they must not believe in the receiving core, because you can't have the most physically gifted quarterback on the planet and focus on running the football this much and focus on your tight ends this much. It's a complete tell that they have no confidence in the receiving core.
You said it, not me.
Well, he said it actually, and I just told you. But but the other part of it, which I'm going to focus on here, is Dalton Kincaid changes this offense.
Utah.
Changes this offense.
My dog.
And I went back, I asked around, and I went back to look at something. He missed weeks 11 through 13.
And when he misses those weeks, Josh Allen is a different player.
Not the same player.
I could tell you right now.
I mean,
Let me go.
It's bad, Steve.
It is crazy.
13 to 10 touchdown interceptions with him off the field. 9 to 0 with him on the field.
155.6 passer rating when targeting Dalton Kincaid in 2025. Highest among all quarterback duos in 2025.
So what does that tell you, Steve? There is a comfort level that Josh Allen plays with when this man's on the field. There's trust. There's reliability. There's a feel in the passing game. Now, I understand. Now, the pushback's going to be this, and you and I have had this conversation over the last couple of years, and I've talked to defensive coordinators about this going, well, we know that they're going to attack the hashes. It's the tight ends. It's Shakir. It's where they put the football. But guess what?
It's hard to stop.
Sometimes players make plays.
Players make plays, baby.
And that is what these two do. So, yes, defenses might still be able to focus here and not have to worry about outside the numbers because the receiving core out there has still been below average and not up to what they want to be. But there still is an aspect of this passing game that is undeniably there when Dalton Kincaid is on the field. And I understand also that Cincinnati struggles against tight ends. They do. They have all year. And we'll see if this is sustainable week in and week out. But this is something to keep an eye on how this offense operates when you have Kincaid and you have Knox. And, oh, by the way, they led the team in targets this past weekend. Why? Because that's a focal point of the offense. It's a struggle point of Cincinnati. And they find these seams to make plays. The throw, by the way, is that right seam they just kept picking on that entire game against Cincinnati. It's where he also threw that ball to Shakir, which was just bonkers for the touchdown. Just unbelievable. And so that part can kind of carry this offense a little bit. What we are having this conversation with, Steve, is Josh Allen needs to play at the level we saw Sunday for them to go on this said run potentially in the postseason, like we're saying. It has to almost be at that level when you talked about the issues that they have stopping the run, the issues that they have outside the numbers. Like, there's different things that they've had to deal with this year. Josh might have to play like that, but my point is there might not be another quarterback to his level in the entire AFC this postseason, which he has not had to deal with before.
Well, that's outstanding that no one in the AFC that has the potential to go in the playoffs have a better quarterback with athleticism and dual threat. But that don't mean anything if only one side of the football is really is carrying everything.
I wanted to mention this. I'm looking at your stats right now. The most number of fumbles you've ever had in a season was your rookie year.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of. I had 1 year I had a lot of drops, and then another year I had.
It says 8 fumbles. I don't think you lost all of them.
I didn't.
But I'm looking at.
So hold on. Mm-hmm. That rookie year, man, that's when I had a nervous breakdown. That was the Green Bay game. Listen, with Rose Sparks, you ain't never got to get ready because they allow you to stay ready. As you become older, hey, I'm older too. And I'm also single now. So being older and being single, there's a little bit of getting back on the scene and afraid that you won't be able to perform to your excellence. So I got an opportunity to make sure that I stay ready. Got to roll with me anytime the way it comes in. Roll does an excellent job of connecting you with a medical provider, and it comes straight to your door. No having to wait in line or to drive anywhere. You just sit at home, prepare, get ready, and then you can stay ready because Roe will be delivering straight to your door. If prescribed, new sexual health patients get $15 off their first order of Sparks on a recurring plan. Connect with a provider at ro.co/89 to find out if prescription Roe Sparks are right for you. That's ro.co/89 for $15 off the first order. Sparks is a compounded drug product. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. For safety information, go to ro.co/safety info. I had 2 back-to-back kickoff returns fumbled.
Okay, this is good. This is good. Oh, that's not good, but this is good for my conversation.
Okay, it was so bad, man. It was so bad. And I just remember Richard Williamson walking down the hall after the game, and he goes, "Hey, I'm not going to give up on you." And that did a lot. Now, George Seifert, he had walked into the locker room my rookie year when they drafted me. He said, "Hey, I drafted you in the 3rd round. Don't f this up." But I remember walking down the hall and I saw George. He looked at me, put his head down, and didn't speak to me. That's exactly what I said. Looks like this thing about to be over.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So, it's interesting you mentioned the mental side of it. Because for this run that we're just seeing, if Buffalo can do it, and we're kind of just evaluating all the things that could happen, go against them, right?
No, you're not going with the James Cook fumble.
I'm asking because he has 6 fumbles on the season. Career high. He had 2 in this game. Luckily, one wasn't called back for a touchback, the one going into the end zone. Yeah. Thankfully, it wasn't. But then he ends up fumbling right there at the goal line again. Is this something that can be? We don't know. I'm not saying you to critique what James Cook is going through, but you did hint on the fact that this could be something that gets in your head carrying the football.
It does.
Do you carry it differently? Do you stress? Do you panic? Like, is it on your mind while you're carrying the football?
You stress. You don't panic. Okay. What they say. You go back to basics. Mm-hmm. Right. So there may be, depending on his coach. I think it's Skip. His running back coach, sometimes they'll have you walking around with the football all day.
Like in the program?
Yeah, like some of these coaches do that, right? Then they'll have where when you're running, emphasizing punching the ball out. Tiki Barber did it, later, early in his career where he had the high. Mm-hmm. Remember how he was running that thing like that?
Yeah, I do.
So it just really depends on your receiver, your running back, your position coach, and what is the mentality of the head coach, offensive coordinator. What have they all discussed and talked about? They're talking about it right now. On a Tuesday, they're discussing what we should do and how we should handle things. And they'll come up with a game plan, right? They have to, because – we all know James Cook, they're a better football team when he has the football in his hand.
He is balling this year.
Right?
Like, they paid him, and, they were reluctant to pay a running back. They are getting their money's worth and then some. He is playing great. He's playing more than he's ever played. They're relying on him more than they ever have in the past. That's my point. Like, this is somebody that they need, and they've been using a lot. And I want to see it be successful. It's just, I was curious what other things are at play. Right. When you go through a little stretch.
The other things that are players going to be what's the outcome and what happens moving forward. Was it a one-off? Was it a two-off? Or is this something that we need to be concerned with, and then we go in the offseason and we address it, right? Sure. And addressing it is, training with the football. But I've said this over and over, and I'll continue to keep saying it. Man, every year there's new habits to break. Every single year. And the reason why you have new habits to break is because the guys on the other side, they get paid as well. And their job is to figure out how they can get that ball away from your body.
Punching seems more prevalent than ever right now, by the way.
What'd you say?
I feel like punching seems more prevalent than ever right now.
The peanut punch.
Peanut punch changed the game.
Peanut punch, all of that stuff. Guys are trying to punch and not wrap up and missing tackles.
That is true.
Right?
And by the way, if you miss on the punch, it's a penalty. If you miss the ball.
Really?
If you just punch the individual that's carrying the ball, it's a penalty. So it's been interesting to watch lately. Yeah. I'll wrap it up by saying this, Steve. I think there are 3 guys that are probably the front runners for MVP. I think since the Cowboys are kind of out of the postseason play, might hurt Dak, but I think he's playing outstanding.
Yes, he is.
I think Drake May is playing outstanding, and I think Matthew Stafford is playing outstanding. Okay. And I think Stafford's playing outstanding. I think those are probably the group. But if Josh Allen keeps playing like this in these final 4 games, he could put himself back in the conversation.
Man, get out of here. I'm done.
He could.
Move on. Let's go.
John, save that.
Zac Taylor, what are you doing?
You're talking about the Joe Burrow pick, Christian Bedford returned for the touchdown, swung the entire game.
I'm looking at that, it's like, why are y'all throwing that screen? Now, people can talk about the shot put throw, how Joe threw it. Joe didn't pick that play. That was a play design straight from the sideline. They said, I got to play for him. Mm-hmm. They never going to see this one coming. Gotcha. Yeah, they saw it coming. Bro, Zac Taylor is doing a bang-up job to get himself let go.
Oh.
I don't think Zac Taylor is going to make it. He's making too many errors because he's putting everything on Joe Burrow. Everything. They've let the defense go. It was someone else. I just think it's time. I think it's time that you need a fresh pair of eyes in there to go, hey, how can we get this team better and make and not waste the prime years of our quarterback? Because all we want to do is sit back and chuck the ball. Chase Brown, it's like you got you know something about him that you can't say, so you're holding it against him by not giving him the football.
I mean, but they throw it to him. So, like, what's the
He's
offensive
a running
plan
back.
here? I know, but they throw to him a lot.
Yes, but that's all they want to do is throw the ball.
Steve, the mindset is this, and you and I have talked about this privately. Like, Joe, win us the game. Like, that is what it is. And
you can't say Joe win us the game, and then you're out there calling terrible plays.
All right, I'll say this. He's got one more year left on his contract. The Bengals don't like to overspend money, pay multiple coaching staffs. We'll see. I think something to evaluate this offseason.